Well, Paddy, thank you for coming to take part in my Spark project. It was fun to hear an interview.
You're welcome, no problem.
I'd like to start off by asking a few questions about your childhood, if that's okay.
Okay.
Where did you grow up, and what influence did sport have on you as a young boy?
Well, I grew up in Drumlane with my mother and father and my sister Bridge. And in those days, it seemed that every child was out in the street playing, and I was usually in the middle of them playing football. So I played a lot of football on the street, down in the field below the estate. But it wasn't until I went to the Abbey Primary that I became involved in structured Gaelic football competitively. We won the Rice Cup in, I think it was 75, 76. And then I progressed on to the Abbey Grammar and played for the Abbey at all levels from an early age. And then Aidan O'Rourke, who I have to say played a big role in my football career in the early years. He approached me to play for a team called Hereford that he had in Newry. So I did that for about 4 years, and it was during that time that I got picked up by Forest and got involved with the schoolboy international team. And that gave me a lot of exposure, so I had a lot of offers from English clubs during that time. But yeah, I really enjoyed playing for the Abbey and for the Newry Missions as well. But through Aidan O'Rourke, I played an awful lot of soccer.
Did you play for any other local clubs in your...
Not in those years, no. It was really Hereford. Started off in their under 13 and then up to their under 16 team and then their senior team while it was still only 15. But no other in those days.
As you mentioned, you were called up the Northern Ireland Schoolboys team at a very young age. What was that like?
Yeah, it was a great experience. It was a real surprise because Aidan O'Rourke stopped me in the hall one day in school and just asked me if I'd like to go down for a trial. The trial was actually halfway over, so it was a week-long trial, and I went down I think on a Wednesday night, and the squad was being picked on a Saturday. So I agreed to go down, so he drove me down and dropped me off and kind of walked into a big crowd. We played a match the next day, that's when I managed to score a couple of goals, and they played another match on the Friday and I managed, lucky enough, to score another couple of goals. So when the squad was announced on Saturday evening, I honestly didn't expect to be included really, you know. I know I'd done well, but there were a lot of good players there. But luckily enough, I was in the squad, and as I say, I went on to play in all the games and managed to score a couple of goals against the Republic and a couple against Germany. Played with some great players up front, Norman Whiteside, John McDaid. I mean, it was a great experience for a young man. I think I was the first in the Newry Moor area ever to be selected at under 15 level. The offers came in from Irish League clubs and from League and from Premier League clubs, thick and fast. It was during that time that I'd first gone over to Forest, though. And yeah, it was a great time, very exciting time, you know.
You had a fantastic start to your youth career, as you said, and after this you got called to trials for Nottingham Forest. What was it like going to trials for a team that were European champions at the time?
Yeah, well, you're right, they were European champions at the time. I mean, it was an amazing experience because I mean, I'd sat and watched Forest most weeks or matches like everybody else. I remember the first time I went over there, I think they were playing Ajax in the European Cup, and you know, I remember seeing Rudy Krall and players like that, and Neeskens, that I just watched the previous year win the World Cup, or sorry, get beat in the World Cup final in '78, and that was an amazing experience to see them live and actually playing. And then going to training with a lot of these stars you can see on the TV, you're changing the side and you're talking away to them. I thought it was great. It was really, you know, coming from Drumlane to that in a very short period of time, I really enjoyed it. You know, it was terrific.
What was the average day like at Forest?
Well, the average day for us, well, in my apprentice days, you were up at about 8:30, got your breakfast. We lived right beside the ground. So we had a little private entrance, we could go in. We got in, got the first team boots and our gear ready for training. When we did that, we got our own gear on and we just jogged down to the training ground. If it was during the season, your average training session lasted about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And you jogged back, got your dinner, and that was it for the rest of the day. Matches could be midweek, and obviously on Saturday. But if it was pre-season, you spent a lot more time on the training ground. The training was an awful lot more harder, you know, than that.
Well, how did you sustain your right serious knee injury that halted your career?
Well, I was home in 82, in the summer of 82. I'd just come back. We'd just come back at Easter from a tournament in Rome with the reserves, and we'd beaten Juventus in the final. Brian Clough had taken the team, and I'd managed to score both goals in the final. It was televised live on Italian television. And as a result of that, I'd been named in the first team squad for a friendly the following week when we get back. So I was kind of, you know, riding on the crest of a wave at that time. I was 17, just coming to the end of the season. I was just signing like a pretty good professional contract when I came back in September. So usually when you go home in the summertime, you don't play football, you know. Maybe do a little bit of training, that's about the height of it. But of course, the night I was due to fly back, I was out in the street playing with my friends, and I slipped and fell and twisted my knee. And well, I didn't go back in time, and I had to get operated on as soon as I got back to England. And that's a major regret, of course. You know, I should have been in my bed really, because I flew out. The flight was leaving 6 in the morning. I was out in the street playing football as usual. So yeah, that was a big disappointment when I look back on that. You know.
Did you ever face any difficulties going from Ireland to England during the Troubles?
Well, yeah. I mean, I lived in a house beside the ground, as I say, with about maybe 10 to 12 apprentices and professionals. And the odd time on the news, I mean, the Troubles were at their height then, you know, and the odd time you'd get a little bit of a jibe. But thankfully nothing too serious, because the lads were really good about it all, you know. But yeah, it wasn't too bad for me.
You managed to make Wimbledon Stars on a few occasions, and you're going to be taking in your team next year. So how did you get into youth coaching?
Well, about 10 years ago, Warren McGuigan asked me to come down to Newry. He started a little coaching session with very young kids and asked me to give them a hand. I said I would gladly do so. I went down there and I really enjoyed it. And Marty, of course, has gone on to do great things in coaching. Whereas I haven't really got the bug for it. I didn't then actually, but he asked me again last year about the academy down at Newry. There's going to be an under 16 and an under 18 academy for the Irish League clubs. And he asked me if would I get involved with the 16s, and I said I would. So myself and Chris Coffey are going to be taking that, and we're really excited because we're looking for you know, the best young players around, and we plan to give them a really good lesson in what it takes to be a footballer. You know, on a more professional level, I think that's what's going around. You know.
Who was the best player you played with during your career?
That's a good question. It's a tough question to answer because I was fortunate enough to play with an awful lot of very, very good players. I played with some good players in the Irish League and the League of Ireland and locally here. Martin Green being one of them. I have to give Martin a mention because he's probably the most naturally gifted footballer I've seen. And I mean that I played you know, with international players over at Forest and as I say, elsewhere in Ireland. I mean, there's Martin, Neil Redfern's another great player. Neil was a terrific player, great attitude. Steve Hodge was another England international, did very well for himself. Des Walker comes to mind as well. Des was a terrific player. But I'd have to say, on talent alone over in England, John Robertson probably the best one.
Who was the best player you played against during your career?
Well, that's a very easy question to answer because that was Marco van Basten, who was terrific. You know, one of the all-time greats. And even as a teenager with Holland, when we played them down in Belfast, we managed to, you know, to scrape a 0-0 draw with them. They were very good because of him. He was, you know, just a terrific footballer and a real danger around the 18-yard box. So that's an easy one.
As you said, you were managed by Brian Clough. Was he the best manager you played under?
No doubt about it. Ian O'Rourke comes a close second, but it has to be Brian Clough. He wasn't a great coach, he didn't do much coaching, but it was his sheer presence around the place and his will to win. I think it rubbed off on everyone. So he didn't have to say too much, but when he talked, everybody listened.
What advice would you give to young people trying to make it to a high level in soccer?
Well, the first thing I'd tell them is to stay at school, because nowadays it's possible to do both. It's very possible to do both. So stay at school, work hard at your game. Football, no matter how much talent you have, if your attitude or your work ethic isn't good, you will not make it to the very top. You know, you might do very well, but it's all about attitude as well. I mean, having the talent is one thing, but if the attitude and the work ethic isn't there, you're not going to get that far. So to maximise your potential, I suppose, I would definitely say work hard.
What would you say is your greatest achievement as a player?
Well, it's got to be one of those early years, I suppose. Scoring twice against Germany was fantastic. I'm very happy to do that. But I think playing against Juventus in Rome, televised on Italian national TV, and scoring both goals with Brian Clough waiting for you in the changing room, that was amazing, I have to say. So I do cherish those memories, you know.
Who was your sporting idol and why?
Well, when I was younger, I suppose anybody who was into football from my age bracket was probably influenced by George Best. We used to watch my match a day, it was incredible, you know. But as the years go by, I'd have to say on sheer ability, there's nobody comes close to Maradona. He was just incredible.
Looking back, if you could do anything different, what would you do?
Well, that night in '82, I would have gone to bed. I probably would have stayed at school as well, because they did offer me the chance to go to school and I turned it down, unfortunately. So I would have stayed at school, gone to bed and get on that flight in the morning, and who knows what would have happened. But yeah, I think a little bit more mature, maybe I'd have done the right thing, you know.
Cheers, Paddy.
Thanks very much, Dan.